So you just got your PCS orders, you're coming to Hawaii, you've definitely decided you're going to purchase a property and leverage that oh so sweet VA loan, and you're wondering, how can I make sure that I leverage that VA loan and squeeze it for as much as possible, so at the end, when you PCS to a different duty station, you can maximize your return on investment? Well, in this video, we're gonna go over not only what you should look for, but my process on how I analyze a property. So make sure you stick to the end to see all the details. See you on the other side. What's going on, guys? So specifically in this video, we're gonna go over how to find a property that will work with the VA loan, because there are some rules and restrictions specifically out here in Hawaii, and so that you can actually force some equity into that, so that when you decide to sell the property after you actually have a change of station, you can squeeze the most money out of it and maximize your profits for you and your family. Now, before we get into that, let me quickly introduce myself if this is your first time here. My name is Patrick Longley. I'm a licensed real estate agent out here in Oahu, Hawaii, and have been for nearly a decade, helping service members like yourself with their real estate needs. So with that being said, let's get into how to leverage that VA loan to squeeze and maximize your profits. Now, a lot of people look at properties out here and see a complete teardown and see lots of opportunity, but you have to keep in mind that you need to stay within the VA guidelines when it comes to leveraging that VA loan. And those VA guidelines you need to stick by are the 3 S's. The home needs to be safe, sound, and sanitary. Now, one thing you can keep in mind is if you're looking to use your VA loan out in California or in a different part of the mainland, they may be a little bit more strict on what is considered safe, sound, and sanitary, but I'll be the first to tell you out here in Hawaii, they're not as strict with those types of things, but you can quickly find out if you walk through a property whether it's going to meet the VA standards and guidelines. So if you walk into a property and there are no appliances, or if you walk into a property and there's no floors, or the walls are open, or there's electrical wires hanging, that would not be safe or sound. Or if you walk into a property and there's just junk everywhere, that might not be sanitary. So these are just different things that if you are looking to more or less invest in a property, force some equity into it and fix it all up, you definitely can do that. But you need to make sure you stay within those 3 S's, which is safe, sound, and sanitary. And once again, if you guys want to look at some properties and have that exact strategy, 80% of my clients are pretty much VA, and I help them with building wealth through that VA loan, and I can quickly and easily pretty much figure out whether that property is going to pass the VA inspection. Now, a couple things you need to know about the VA specifically out here in Hawaii that are different. There are 2 main differences. The first one, like I mentioned earlier, is that they're a little bit more flexible when it comes to VA standards out here in Hawaii, because the quality of homes are not as great or as good as you would see maybe on the mainland, because we're on an island and we're just a little bit behind. You can see that a lot of the homes are a little bit older out here, so the VA is a little bit more flexible when they're dealing with those 3 S's, but you just need to make sure that you're working with somebody who knows what those flexibilities are and what you can get away with and what you can't. The second thing you need to know is that when you are doing your VA inspection, to make sure that it's safe, sound, and sanitary, out here in Hawaii, the VA appraiser is also the VA inspector. So you don't actually have the appraiser and then a different VA inspector go out. They're the same person. So it's really important before the appraiser goes out there that you make sure that the property is safe, sound, and sanitary. Which leads me into my next point. What can you do if the property is not safe, sound, and sanitary? Well, there are some things you can do that's a little bit of a gray area and can be a little bit difficult, but if you're working with the right agent or someone who knows some creative solutions, what you can do is that if the property, let's say, has walls that are not sealed up. Now, that might be a big one to ask, but you could go to the seller and say, hey, Mr. Seller, we really want this property, but we need the walls sealed up. Can you actually do that for us? And again, you would actually have to find a seller who's super motivated, who's actually willing to put up the money to seal up the walls, which can be pretty difficult if they're selling it the way it is. They probably don't have the money to do that, but that is something that you can do. Now, keep in mind, you, the buyer, are not allowed to pay a dime when it comes to getting the property to be safe, sound, and sanitary. It has to come from someone else. So just keep that in mind. Okay, now that we've kind of broken down the ins and outs of what the VA guidelines are, let's talk about what you do want to look out for. So generally, I've got tons of videos which you can check out right here that goes through how to invest with your VA loan specifically out here in Hawaii, but I'll quickly summarize it. You're going to want to find a property with a motivated seller. Motivated seller generally is going to be on the market for 30, 60, or 90 days, so they're going to have some flexibility, which can allow you to get a better price. Now, if you can find a property that still meets those guidelines, being safe, sound, and sanitary, but needs a little bit of work, that's a great opportunity for you to come in, put in some new floors, fresh paint, new appliances, countertops, cabinets, and make the place beautiful so that you can force equity into that property so that when you leave in 3 years, you can sell it, or better yet, utilize a HELOC to pull cash out of the property to purchase another property in the near future. Now, when it comes to analyzing the property, it's really important to look at what you can buy it at, the cost it is to fix it, and more importantly, what the ARV or after repair value would be. Now, this is something that I help a lot of my clients with when we're analyzing a property, that they are in the mindset of, hey, I want to buy a fixer upper, I want to force equity into it, so when I sell it, I can maximize my profits. Okay guys, well that pretty much wraps it up. Now you have a general idea of what the VA guidelines are when it comes to utilizing that VA loan and to leverage it for potentially an investment property. Also what the differences are between the mainland and Hawaii when it comes to the VA loan. And we also just went through a quick analysis of looking at a property that actually has some potential for you to maximize your sweat equity. If you guys have any questions or you want me to analyze the property for you, I'd be happy to help. Feel free to reach out. I got my contact information right here, or you can directly DM me on any of my social media platforms. With that being said, I'm Patrick with PatrickLongleyRealty.com, powered by eXp Realty. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Aloha.